Hi there, I'd like to continue chapter 2 of the blessings for obedience and the punishment for disobedience. As we might know, God gave us a commandment. He tells us that we ought to love God more than ourselves, and we are to love others as ourselves. So he says to keep in mind, never forget these commands that I'm giving to you today. Teach them to your children. Repeat them when you are at home and when you're away, when you are resting and when you are working. Tie them on your arms and wear them on your foreheads as a reminder. Write them on the doorposts of your houses and your gates. Remember this. It is an obligation we have as a Christians, as a followers of Jesus Christ. God, He gave us, God shows us that He will bless us. God desires to bless us. But He says, as long we live according to His commands. If you obey Him, He will do more than we can imagine. He will bless us abundantly. That's a covenant He makes with us. God knows what is best for us, as He describes in the book of Jeremiah 29:11. He has a plan for all of us. God is our maker. He creates the whole universe. He creates the whole thing. He knows what's best for us. So He gives us several warnings. He gives us warnings several times in the book of Deuteronomy. He tells us over and over, if you listen to me, if you obey me, if you live according to my laws. So following Christ, it's a matter of priority. Nothing can be compared to the supremacy of following Christ. Nothing has a higher priority. We are called to obedience faith. Christ must have the preeminence in our lives. There can be no one or nothing higher, because He says He's a jealous God. We are to love God more than ourselves. We are to love others as ourselves. In the book of Deuteronomy 6:5-9, He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. We are to obey God's command. He tells us, and He gives us several warnings. He tells us, be certain that you do not forget the covenant that the Lord your God made with you. He made us a covenant. This is in Deuteronomy 4:23. Obey His commands and not to make yourselves any kind of idol, because the Lord your God is like a flaming fire. He tolerates no rivals. God is a jealous God. He told us to keep the covenant He made with us. He says we must obey the 10 Commandments. He wrote to us. That's in the book of Deuteronomy 4:13. The blessings for obedience, he says in the book of Leviticus 26, he says, 26:3, he says, if you live in according to my laws and obey my commands, I will send you rain in the right time, so that the land will produce crops and the tree will bear fruit. In Deuteronomy 29:9, he says, obey faithfully all the terms of this covenant, so that you will be successful in everything you do. He gave several warnings. He says, not to forget in the Lord, not to forget about him. Make certain that Deuteronomy 8:11. Make certain that you do not forget the Lord, your God. Do not fail to obey any of his laws, any that I am giving you today. Obey faithfully, Deuteronomy 8:1. Obey faithfully all the laws that I have given you today, so that you may live, increase in number, and occupy the land that I promised you. He also says in Deuteronomy 7:12, if you listen to these commands and obey them faithfully, then the Lord your God will continue to keep his covenant with you and will show you his constant love as he promises. In Deuteronomy 8:14, he says, be sure that you do not become proud and forget the Lord your God who rescued you, saved you. Love the Lord your God and always obey his law. Deuteronomy 11. He also says in Deuteronomy 30:11, he says, the command that I am giving you today is not too difficult or beyond your reach. You can do it. God is giving us many warnings. God gives us choices. In Deuteronomy 30:13, he says, today I'm giving you a choice between good and evil, between life or death. It's your choice. It's a matter of life or death. So he gives us all the warnings. He will bless us beyond we can imagine, because that's where he is, faithful. And he tells us. He gives us, here, I'm giving you all of this. I'm promising you all of this. But if you don't listen, I'll punish you. It's going to have consequences. So in the book of Leviticus 26:14, God gives the list of punishment for disobedience. The Lord says, if you will not listen or obey my commandments, you will be punished. If you refuse to obey my laws and commands and break the covenant I made with you, I will punish you. And he keeps going, telling us in Deuteronomy 28:15, but if you disobey the Lord your God and do not faithfully keep all his commands and laws that are given you today, all these evil things will happen to you. So it's a list of things that is scary, and we should be aware of that. That can happen